Me just found out my wife of almost 4 years racked up $12,000 of credit card and tax debt and has been actively hiding it from me. My wife lied to me about our taxes and put us $5,000 in debt with the IRS. Then lied about our credit cards and hid the fact that we were thousands of dollars in debt. Then lied to my face when confronted about it. Then repeatedly cheated on our mutually agreed upon budget plan to pay it off. I just uncovered what I really hope is everything. There were some red flags that I foolishly ignored. Here is a rough timeline. We've been together since high school and married young at 20. It was pretty clear from the beginning, and we even had conversations specifically about it, that she would handle the money. Her parents are incredible with money. They are avid couponers, exceptional investors, and mind-bogglingly frugal. It was logical to me that she would inherit at least some of this, and since I hated everything to do with finances, it made perfect sense. More backstory, I'm the primary breadwinner. She makes less than $10K a year from a part-time job. Shortly after we were married, she got a couple of credit cards that had cash back or air mileage programs and explained to me that as long as we kept them paid off, they'd basically be giving us free money. A year before we were married, I started working as a freelance contractor. This meant I had to pay estimated taxes every quarter. Last year, tax year 2013, she offered to take over my taxes, and I happily agreed. Again, hate finances. I just told her every quarter I made $X, so send the IRS $Y. For time she told me she would. This last tax season I found out she lied every single time. We got a massive bill. Thousands of it were from the late fees alone. I only found out because I had to help and sign for the taxes. This basically wiped our nest egg and left us owing $5,000 that we had to put on a payment plan with the IRS. She apologized and cried a lot and said she just misunderstood the estimated taxes and this kind of thing would never ever happen again. I shrugged it off. People make mistakes. There is about $4,200 left to pay the IRS. Jump forward to this June. We moved into a new place. The city requires a credit check to turn on the water/sewage/ etc. I go to the office to sign and finalize it, and to my surprise they require a rather large deposit. I asked about it, and they said it was due to the credit check. I looked over the credit report, and it had a column that was, "These items negatively affect your score." Most of them were fine, like credit history to short, but one line really stood out to me. Average balance on all accounts above 30%. When we first got the credit cards, our limit was $2,000, so I was okay, $600 in credit debt isn't a big deal. I told my wife about the credit check and the large deposit, and she said something like, "Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I kind of let it slip this last month. It'll be fine next month." What I didn't know at the time was that our credit limit had increased to $5,000, and that we were far past the 30% mark. Just over a month ago, I come home and sit down at the computer, which we both use. My wife comes over and sits next to me and starts telling me about her day. I close the browser window which had been open, and behind it is a PDF statement for one of the credit cards. My wife screams, "Close that," and grabs the mouse and closes it. But before she does, I see at the top a massive current balance, $4,900. It wasn't exactly $4,900, there was some change. She turns bright red and looks at me with a look of, "Did you just see that?" I say something like $4,900, and she breaks down and starts crying. She explains that it just got out of hand and she lost control and it's been snowballing, and she didn't want to tell me about it because it had stressed me out and it was all her fault. Then she says something that still pisses me off to think about. "It all started when you stopped working from home and got a job. I didn't realize you were going to make a lot less money." This pisses me off because I got a 20% raise when I stopped freelancing. It just seemed like less money because of tax withholding, and I was contributing to an 401k, and our health insurance got 10x better. So there was less cash in the bank every week, but I was making more money. Anyway, we have a long talk and decide the money needs to be transparent. We set up you need a budget, and she went through and added everything in. We decide that every single week we'll go through our weekly expenses, and neither of us will spend any money without telling the other. We plan everything out and figure out that we can pay off the credit card by the end of the year if we eat super cheap and never go out. At some point during this day-long talk and planning session, I notice she has left out the other credit card from an app. I asked her about it directly, like I looked her dead in the eye and said, "What about the Amex?" She looked at me, and with a straight face said, "It's at like $400 to $600. I barely ever put anything on it because it doesn't have cash back. I'll pay it off this month and just close it." For some stupid fucking reason, I believed her. Now skip forward to this morning. I decided to check on everything because we had some minor, but unexpected, expenses this week, and I wanted to see how it would affect our long-term payoff plan. I logged into the Amex account and see that it has a balance of $3,534.39. Not only that, but I logged into the other credit card to find that it's $1,000 higher than what she is reporting in an app. She recorded 2x $500 payments in an app that she never actually paid. I'm looking through the statements, and where I have been living on basically chicken breasts and vegetables, she has been eating out multiple times a week while I was at work. There are countless expenses that I can't account for, and that go way beyond the budget we planned. Our plan to have, what I now know is only half, our debt paid off by the end of the year is completely botched already, just a month in. I feel sick. I don't think I'll ever be able to trust her again. My stomach churns every time I think about her face when she told me the Amex only had a balance of $400. I'm seriously considering a divorce. Would a divorce be an overreaction? Is this something I should be able to forgive? Update. It's been a month since I found the second half of the debt. Here is what has happened since. We're still together. I've taken complete control of the finances, but she still can see it all, and we're discussing finances on a regular basis. I set up Mint. Big thanks to those who recommend it. It's been a huge help, though the net worth column makes me a little sick every time I see it. I have not set up a separate bank account, as some people recommended. She freely gave up all her credit cards, and I hid them. I figured cutting them up could potentially cause problems if I needed to cancel subscriptions or something. My logic may be flawed, but since hiding them exactly $0 has been spent on them, so I believe it's a safe method for now. She has a debit card she is supposed to only use for gas and groceries that are on our agreed-upon list. We're now about $800 less debt, which feels like a drop in the bucket, but at least it's a drop in the bucket in the correct direction. We've managed to almost follow the budget I planned out. Unfortunately, our relationship has suffered in a big way. I have to check the transactions on her card every day, and at least twice a week there are things on there she shouldn't have bought. When I confront her about them, she always has an excuse ready. I withdrew $20 to buy Girl Scout cookies from a client's daughter, but since I can't have the cookies' gluten allergy, I told them to just take the $20. I can't bring myself to believe her excuses. I know she is lying, at least some of the time, as in there will be a Starbucks cup left in the car. I don't really want to start a fight over $20, and I can't tell the difference between when she is lying and when she isn't. Until a month ago, I thought she never lied. I should take a moment to say, I like strong women. I fell in love with this girl when I was 18 and she was 17, because she was the most mature/independent girl my age I had ever met, among other qualities. She had a good job. For 17, she was moving out of her parents' house. She had a car. In short, for her age, I thought she really had her shit together. I have never wanted the nuclear stay-at-home wife. I wanted a career wife. You know Claire Underwood from House of Cards? That's the kind of woman I wanted, and who I thought I had found. While we were dating, she was all about career advancement, long-term plans, traveling the world, etc. I'm concerned I had rose-colored glasses on, and because I wanted her to be a strong, independent woman, I ignored her faults, and she went out of her way to act like the strong woman she knew I wanted her to be. Whenever I find her spending money on things she shouldn't, I either have to let it go bad, I assume, or I have to ground a grown-ass woman from her debit card, which I really hate to do. I hate the idea of my wife being a subordinate, or like I have to punish or police her activity. It makes me feel like an asshole. Not to mention it's a complete turnoff that has decimated our intimacy. It's incredibly difficult for me to want to have sex with someone I just had to scold because they broke a budget we both agreed on. Despite telling me she is sorry and she feels terrible, I feel like I'm fighting alone. It's like instead of being my partner and finding ways to help, I have to actively prevent her from doing further harm. A good example is that she has never looked for scholarships for school. I doubt she could get a free ride or anything, but she hasn't even looked because I've always been able to just pay it off immediately. I get that hunting down and applying for scholarships takes a lot of time and effort, and I have no idea if she'd get any. But she could at least look. I have brought it up and she just brushes it off as, I'll look, but I won't qualify for any, so it'll be a waste of time. And then she doesn't look. Another example, a number of people recommend marriage counseling for us and or therapy for her. I asked her to find a therapist, and then if the therapist thought, after talking with her, that we should do couple counseling, I'd be happy to. I reminded her to find a therapist every day for the first week, and a month later she still hasn't. I don't mind reminding her, but at this point it's pretty clear she is deliberately avoiding it. Every day I'm reminded of our debt, which upsets me, but then I get upset at myself for being upset. For example, I'll turn down going out with friends because it costs money. Then I'll think, damn it, if my wife didn't put me in debt, I could go out with friends. And then 5 minutes later I'll think, wow, did I really get mad at my wife because I can't go out with friends? There are people who can't afford food, and I'm upset that I can't afford a cocktail. I'm an asshole. So I get trapped in a circle of resenting my wife, and then resenting myself for resenting my wife. I would like to avoid giving the impression that I believe myself blameless in all of this. I appreciate those who pointed it out. I shouldn't have ignored my own finances for so long. I shouldn't have dumped that responsibility on anyone. I let myself get caught up in the fantasy that I was married to a perfect, strong, independent person who could do anything. If I were to pursue a separation or a divorce, I wouldn't try to escape the debt, or at least half the debt. If I wasn't supporting her or paying for her school out of pocket, I could pay it all off in a few months. We're still together, but I haven't forgiven her, and I am harboring a lot of resentment. I am so afraid of doing something I'll regret that I'm caught in limbo. I won't forgive her, but I won't leave her, which isn't fair to her or myself. But I am too afraid to do either. It's not the money. Money will come and go. It's the continued lying and the lack of effort to make it right that I am having trouble forgiving. On the other hand, divorce really doesn't sound very fun. I am afraid I can never forgive her, but I'm afraid I'd never forgive myself if I left her. Money is under control and moving in the right direction. Her apologies seem genuine at the time, but she isn't putting any effort in making it right, or doing the things I asked her to do to make it right. I feel like I am supporting a child. I am having serious trouble forgiving her, and I am harboring a lot of resentment, but I am afraid to leave her. Final update. We're still together, we're still in love, and as of today, we're debt-free. We finally set aside our pride and went to counseling. A big thank you for the Redditors who pushed me to, which was a huge help. She stayed in school, at my insistence, but started working her ass off. She took more hours at work and took any odd job she could. Babysitting, dog-sitting, house-sitting, face-sitting, kidding. She gave up a huge chunk of her nights and weekends and massively reined in her impulse purchases. Her grades did suffer quite a bit, but now she'll be able to cut way back on work and focus much more on school. It's been 10 months, but I feel like we've matured 10 years. We're much better at communicating and money management. We've learned how to go on cheap dates, and we're both better cooks. We drink and eat out a lot less, so we're both healthier. I don't think this could have turned out better. What you think about this story? Write in the comment your opinion. On my channel, you can watch other revenge or cheating stories. See you soon, my dear viewer.